Hi folks, hope you're all well. I talked to you a little bit this morning about how you weigh yourself and how you weigh yourself properly. If you are into getting fit and healthy and you're eating healthy and exercising, a lot of you are going to want to know how you're progressing. A lot of people say don't weigh yourself at all because you'll know from your body and how your body changes and how your clothes will fit better. You don't really need to weigh yourself, and to some extent I agree with that. When I first started getting fit and healthy, I used to weigh myself every week. I don't do it so often. I do it maybe once every month, every 6 weeks, because I want to know what my body fat percentage is. Some people say don't weigh yourself at all, just go on the way that your body looks, how you feel, and that's really good advice, and I would recommend that. But the truth is that a lot of people, they want to weigh themselves, they want to actually see kind of a number, a concrete number of how they're getting on. The problem with weighing yourself is that this can either be incredibly encouraging or it can absolutely kill your enthusiasm to be fit and healthy. I have a set of scales that tell you your weight, they tell you your fat percentage, they tell you your muscle percentage. I would say the great danger of weighing yourself is just having a set of scales that just tells you your weight. I would recommend, if you can afford to, and they're not very expensive these days, if you can afford to, please get a set of scales that are like mine, that give you your weight, your body fat, your muscle. Try and avoid the very simple bathroom scales that just tell you your weight. And the muscle weighs more than fat. So as you begin to eat healthily, as you begin to exercise, whether it's running or walking or cycling or whatever, when you exercise you are going to add muscle to your body, and muscle weighs more than fat. When you exercise, the fat percentage of your body will reduce, but the muscle percentage will increase. Now, if muscle weighs more than fat, you can have a week where you burn a lot of fat, but you add muscle. If you've only got scales that tells you your weight, you might actually end up putting on weight in a week where you've eaten really well and you've exercised very hard. The reason I'm making this video today is because I had this thought last night. So I jumped onto my scales this morning and my weigh-in numbers are the perfect example of how this works. I weighed myself last week and I weighed myself this morning. During the last 7 days, I've done a lot of exercise and I've eaten very, very well, really brilliantly well. When I got on the scales this morning, I weighed exactly the same that I weighed last week. If my scales only gave me my weight, I would be very, very upset, lose motivation to continue with my sort of healthy lifestyle, because I'm thinking, hang on a minute, I worked really hard on my exercise, I ate really well, and yet I didn't lose any weight. Well, that's terrible. And then you get this whole, what's the point of me eating well, and what's the point of me getting out there and sweating and getting my heart rate up? Because look, my weight isn't coming off. My scales measure my fat percentage and my muscle. Now, my weight was identical. The fat percentage of my body had dropped quite considerably, and the amount of muscle that I've added to my body, because I've been cycling, I've also started doing upper body exercises. So my upper body exercises have obviously added muscle in that short space of time. But the point is that muscle weighs more than fat. So even though I have got much healthier this week, if my scales only measured my weight, my scales aren't telling me that I'm getting healthier. But because I can see on my scales that I've reduced the fat percentage of my body and I've increased muscle percentage, I know the reason that my weight is identical to last Monday, despite me having this super healthy week. I know that that's because I've added muscle, but I've burnt fat as well. So I know I'm healthier, even though my weight is the same as it was 7 days ago. Because muscle weighs more than fat. If you increase the amount of muscle on your body but decrease the amount of fat in your body, you may find when you get on the scales that you might not have lost any weight. You may find you've even put on a tiny amount of weight. If you can afford them, and they used to be very expensive, they're not so much now. I bought mine 3 years ago and they were about £40. And I do know now that those kind of scales where they weigh your muscle and your fat are much more popular, much easier to get, and so therefore they're much cheaper. So If you're getting into fitness and you are going to weigh yourself, I don't recommend weighing yourself regularly. Once a month is perfectly fine. Just look at how your clothes are fitting your body. Suddenly your clothes will be a bit looser and you'll know you're getting fitter. But if you are going to weigh yourself, that would be my recommendation. See if you can get those scales. They're not that expensive anymore. You can get them all over the internet. And try not to become too obsessed about weighing yourself. If you are going to weigh yourself, please try and get those scales.